Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
Welcome to Worldview Finder, episode 45.
45.
All right.
And happy May. May is here. It's May.
This isn't being released until June.
May.
Oh, wait, okay. We record really early.
We're released tomorrow.
I don't know. No, probably not. Jimmy's slow. Hey,
Sorry.
This week, man, we're going to be talking about, are humans just bugs?
Probably.
What not to do with your mother's ashes? You need to know this. Do celebrities make good Christians? But first, some little T-Swift feedback. So for those of you that found us from our Taylor Swift either reaction video or the podcast, welcome.
Glad you're here.
Thanks for tuning in again. So some of the comments were very positive. Some were like, you guys need to do your research.
You dumb idiots.
Which I agree. I will say I had the disclaimer before, and I'll say it again.
She was blind reacting.
Blind reacting.
So
Taylor Swift in general.
That's true.
Like, I don't know anything about her, so
sorry. There were apparently a lot
everybody.
of metaphors, and there was like some based on some actors from the 1920s. I didn't know that until people in the comments were very helpful on some of that stuff that we didn't know.
Yeah.
And so for those who said I didn't do research, so I did look up some of the stuff, and here's why. So the big stopping point that people, like a lot of people make comments on, like the alcoholism, because she says I was a functioning alcoholic, and they were like, that's a metaphor and all this stuff.
Or she was talking about somebody else. She was singing from the perspective of someone else.
Yeah, so I did actually blind react to the Taylor Swift video on another channel I'm part of. And
so many channels.
I'm on all of them. But in that, I was like, oh, I didn't know that she had an alcohol problem. It was that thing. And then we kind of came to the conclusion that she wasn't, because nobody knew that. So then I looked it up. And so one of the things that she said herself, she said she once toured like a frat guy, but stopped drinking as she got in shape for her Blockbuster Eras tour, because there was like a lot of dancing and songs and all this stuff. But she said doing that show with a hangover, Swift said, I don't want to know that world. And so it almost sounds like she has toured with a hangover before, maybe not, I don't know. And so, and a lot of people are like, well, you don't know her personal life, and people don't want to interfere with her personal life and all that stuff. But then there are people that want to interfere with her personal life. There's just all this stuff. And
That's a lot of her songs apparently are about
her personal life.
People interfering with her personal life too.
Yeah, and so I think
specifically
some of the
fans.
We were interfering with her personal life. But,
yeah, we were. We
are the problem.
But that's the problem. When you're out there in the world as famous as she is, like you're going to have people that are just telling you how to live your life, and that's a tough thing. I mean, people always tell me how to live my life.
Constantly.
But are we all just bugs?
Are we all just bugs? So Adrian, tell us about you. What you finished?
I finished Three Body Problem on Netflix, based off of a book series written by I believe a Chinese man, and
Racist.
How else do you say that?
I'm just kidding.
An Asian man from China.
I'm joking. Chinese.
So the book is written in Chinese, so it's been translated to
really?
English.
I thought you read it in Chinese.
I did. I learned Chinese just to read this. I did not read the books. So again, please, Three Body Problem fans,
It's a metaphor, Adrian.
It's a metaphor.
There's a lot. I think there's more Three Body Problem fans than there are Taylor Swift fans, and they're crazy.
Really?
I don't know. Has anybody got Three Body Problem? I've never heard.
It's big on Netflix right now. It is big on Netflix.
Well, yes, because the show just came out, and it's gotten a lot of just like
buzz.
Bug buzz.
Bug buzz.
Bugs.
Because humans are all bugs. So it's about that like exploration of what if there's life out there. And so it goes through like there are aliens that make contact with the human race, discover that they were going to work with humans. They're like, hey, we're coming to Earth.
We're coming.
We're 400 years away though, but we want you to know that we're coming. Their technology is like way more advanced, so it can reach further.
They can reach further, but they can't get there faster.
So I thought something really cool was they have
Google
a guy
Maps, 400 years away. Like, it's going to be a while.
They have a guy who reads them fairy tales and folklore and like history.
The aliens?
He from Earth. He sits and like will walk through like Little Red Riding Hood with them, so that they can understand humanity better.
So there's like a connection. They can talk and hear us.
But it's very like only this one special guy gets to talk with. Which he refers to as the Lord. So a lot of times it's like the Lord wills this, the Lord has asked me to do this. So there's lots of language like that, which is interesting. But there's one part where they're talking after he reads this story, And she is like, well, why? You know, she's like kind of asking questions like, why would he do this? What's their motivation?
The alien's asking this? Okay.
And he says, well, they're lying. And she's like, what is lying? And she didn't understand that concept. And
there's a hair on your mic. Sorry, that's bothering me. Okay.
Okay, weird. So she says, why humans... Then she says, she says, so humans lie? And he's like, yes. And she's like, well, and he goes, well, we try not to. And he said, but we just mess up sometimes. And he kind of is like joking about it. Like, this is a thing that happens. And she's like, this changes everything. And then just like cuts off communication with
What?
Humans lie?
So then on every single screen around the entire world in everybody's languages, it says, you are bugs. And so basically they're saying like, your planet's ours now, and we can't cohabit with you. Like, bye.
Oh, man.
So this is everyone's wrestling. This is where the philosophy worldview comes in, is how everyone deals with the idea that in 400 years, the human race is potentially going to be wiped out. Do you fight it? Do you kill yourself? Do you live?
Because it's 400 years away. Do people live longer on the show?
Do you live your life?
Yeah.
Like, and not care? Like,
do they live longer in the show? Like,
no.
Because if 400 years from now, I'm like, I'm not going to be here.
Well, that's your worldview affecting.
That sounds like
somebody else's life.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I would help to prepare the future generations. But why would I commit suicide based on?
Maybe it goes more into it in the books, but there are like groups of people. They do like mass suicides. So just a warning. Sorry, we probably need to put a warning on.
This is suicide warning.
So again, we don't, just because we talk about a show doesn't mean we're recommending it and all that stuff. We want to look at the worldview. We try to do the things that are in pop culture and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So it's So in terms of content, I would say most of it is the weird bad content comes from the first like 2 or 3 episodes, but then it really mellows out. And then I would say after that point, it's really only language. But the first like couple episodes are like pretty violent, but they're like, I know that you saw that there was a nudity warning, and it's like non-sexual. It's like, and it's just,
as long as it's non-sexual.
Yeah.
A little non-sexual nudity never hurt anybody.
So,
is it tasteful? It's a tasteful nudity.
It is tasteful nudity. So. That's weird.
What in the world?
But I mean, I would say easily skippable part, but it is definitely for adults. Like, it is an adult show.
We're not recommending this for children.
No.
Watch it with your newborn.
Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I don't super actually like it. Like, it wasn't great.
After the first 2 episodes, though, you're like, this is great.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is I like all the graphic stuff.
I know. You're like,
and then it mellowed out and I didn't care anymore.
Where's the nudity?
I want death and murder.
Well, it's like the intrigue of it. No, anyway, if you watch it, you'll see. But I don't think I would recommend it. But let's talk about worldview, though.
Yep.
Yes.
Is what you said. Is like, I wouldn't care enough to kill myself, but some people clearly did. Some people are like, I'm just gonna live my life how I want. Like, almost everyone, like a couple of people in this show, they're like, YOLO, like, our world's gonna die anyway, so my consequences don't matter. And then there are some people who are like, what?
YOLO. I heard that in
2013.
I know.
You only live once is what that means.
That's what that means for all of you people who weren't born yet. Jimmy, YOLO means you only live once.
I was right on the cusp of that.
Right.
I know.
So I was having a hard time remembering what I was like, Froyo?
As the kids say, Froyo.
Froyo, YOLO.
Froyo, YOLO.
Right,
yeah, so it is interesting, though, because, obviously this is a fake scenario, but the idea of even like the environment and doing things like that how do you live your life? Do you worry about, okay, if we continue to do the things we do now, this will affect people 1,000 years from now. Do we care about that? Do we change our behavior because of that? Or are we like, let's just kick the can down the road because that's not something that will affect me?
Right.
Sorry, I'm looking off wistfully into space because I'm processing this because life is finite. Like our life, we're all going to die. So sorry, everybody. Spoiler alert.
Yep, everyone's going to die.
But as followers of Jesus, there's more to come. Like we know there's more to come. There's an afterlife. There's the glory. Like we get to be in heaven with Jesus forever, all that stuff. But the way we're to live our life now is in honor of him. Like we're part of God's kingdom now. And so we're supposed to live with that end in mind, though. We're supposed to live like, hey, everybody's going to die in this physical form. So how do we help them to prepare for what's next? And so it's weird to me that like, in 400 years this is happening, but like, but in like 10 years or 80 years or 15.
The world could end. Yeah, it makes everyone.
But your life is going to
end. Your life.
And so
and so then it does bring up, there is a conversation between two people about legacy. Like one guy's like, I'm definitely not having kids. I'm never getting married. Like I'm not bringing new life into this because I don't want to affect my ancestors.
Yeah.
And then this girl's like, well, that's always been my dream. I'm going to have kids. I just need to like, and then what if they have kids? And he's like, well, you're basically like corrupting or like dooming your heritage. And so there's a lot of conversations or like ways to think about your legacy that you leave.
So I think if there's a timer and this is the end, you live more intentionally, I guess it would be the thing. Like if like, this is the day I'm going to die. Can I tell a weird story? In college, there's this girl that was like, had a vision, a thought or whatever of like the day that she knew I was going to die this day.
May 14th, 2026.
Like it was, she was working at a camp in the summer and she's like, for some reason, this date popped in my mind and I knew that this was the day I was going to die. She was telling the story, so obviously it didn't happen. But
did she die on that day? So
she said like she prayed fervently for like not to die on that day. But she's like, I was out riding horses on that day. Which what are you doing on a horse?
I'm staying inside.
That day, I'm staying inside all day.
So she's like, I'm out doing my stuff, and then she's like, I got to this point and there was a path, and she's like, I knew if I kept going, because she's like, this was where I was going to die, and she's like, so I went back, and I was like, that is bizarro. But that's the thing. Like, if we know, okay, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, we're going to pray through it. We're going to like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I leave a legacy for my kids, like all that stuff. And so, but do you guys think about that much? Do you think about like, this is how short my life is going to be? Or is it just more like, yeah, I know that's going to happen?
Well, I think it's shoe kind of thing. So it's partially that. And then partially, do you care about people in the future that you will never meet, that your life might impact?
Mm-hmm. So there's one character that really is like the person who embodies this. He becomes very selfish. In a way, he's like the YOLO guy where he's like, I'm going to just have one night stands every night. I'm going to like just live for my life and not help anyone else. And he gets selected to do this program that's like going to fight back. And he's like, absolutely not. And so everyone's like, why not? You know, and he's like, I'm just going to live my life. Like, I don't care. And so then he's the one that has all these legacy conversations. So,
well, it is interesting though, because and I think where the two ideas overlap is some people don't know when they're going to die, and they have this. It's like, oh, okay, in their head it could be 80 years, but it's kind of like, oh, it could be 400 years because you're not thinking about how little time I do have left.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, instead of focusing on some time in the future that I can't really think about, I'm just going to focus on living my life now and not caring about what the future will look like.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we talked about this on a previous episode with Mr. Beast because he started off kind of, I don't know if he was making Christian content per se, but he was like, hey, I'm going to use my platform to tell people about Jesus.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of gone the opposite way and all that stuff. But you said he's like, well, when he's asked that question about the end of his life, he's like, I'll deal with that when I'm older. Like,
because he was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and I think the question Lex asked him was, "Are you afraid to die?" And he's like, "Yeah, like death terrifies me." But he's like, "This is the things that I need to focus on right now, and I'll think about the other." Because I actually did hear a clip of him. He's like, he doesn't want to just jump into religion if he was to do that. He would want to research all the different religions, try them out, see which one really resonates with him, and then he would do religion. But since he's so focused on the things he's doing right now, he's like, I don't really have time for that. So yeah, he's like, I'll think about those things when I'm 80.
But when he's scared of death, like, he should be like, well, what happens if I die before I make that decision?
I mean, that's what a lot of people do. It's not even that they necessarily reject Christianity or religion. It's they just put it on the back burner and they just focus on, I'm just going to focus on me, my family, my job, and just worry about that. I don't have time for these more important questions in life.
So let's talk about like your question of, do we think about that, and also comparing that with a biblical worldview.
Yeah.
And something that I feel like I think about a lot is this idea of like generational blessings and curses, or like sin, I would say.
Yeah.
And deciding like, okay, how can I either pass that on or try to not pass that on into the next generation so they can be set up well to face, because we don't know what our future generations are going to face.
Aliens.
Yeah, I was like,
that's true.
If we knew in 400 years aliens are going to come and
do something about
wipe us all out, like how do you prepare for that? And I feel like I've been thinking through a lot lately, like my kids, their kids are going to know so much more than I will ever know. And so instead of trying to teach them like just knowledge and facts and all these things, like that's important, but what to do with those things, how to process those things.
Yeah.
Like what do you do with the knowledge that you have? That is almost more important than the actual.
So don't teach them what to think, teach them how to think.
Yes.
Ooh, give me a fish. So, but I think with the finite life that we have, like it's one of those interesting things. Because if I live like today's my last day, well, I'm probably not going to show up at work. So
that's true. I'm taking off because the payday is not even until next Friday, so I'm definitely not showing up today.
Yeah, so we have to live with that end in mind, but it can't be like, oh, every moment this is going to be my last moment.
True.
But
you spend all your money.
But I mean, I've heard like, hey, when you leave a conversation with somebody, act like it's the last time you're going to see them, and so you want to resolve.
Make sure you say you hate them,
just in
case they die on the way home.
Okay, so the last thing is a concept that the like three body problem kind of addresses in the whole book series, because I was listening to some stuff about the book series as a whole. Yeah, and I have a question for you. It's gonna be like kind of a funny one, maybe.
Okay.
Is the concept that sometimes humanity acts as one giant organism, which I think is interesting because it's like we're all bugs.
Sure.
But it's like you get swept up in like society as a whole, and you kind of have, your own autonomy, but at the same time you can't control it. And so like, do you feel like you have anything? And I'll give you my example that I've been thinking about is the idea of clickbait.
Wait, do you have anything that you didn't finish your question?
That it feels like that, where it's like the whole society is acting this way and you're just kind of swept up in it and you can't really do anything about it.
Okay.
But
you because everyone else is doing it.
But everyone has to do it, and nobody seems okay with it, but everyone also seems like that's the only way it works. So like clickbait, algorithm, like the thumbnails on YouTube videos, like someone called us. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Someone called us out for saying like, why do they have to advertise that they're Christians? All Christians do that, and it's stupid. I'm like, because no one would click on it if we didn't say that. It's not like we care that we're advertising that we're Christians.
Two boys and a girl react to Taylor Swift. Right. No one cares.
Right, exactly.
Basic white people respond to Taylor Swift.
Hey, we might actually try that.
Yeah, actually,
that's pretty good branding.
That could be.
I did it.
Write that down.
Midwestern basic white Christians react to.
So,
but I'm like, nobody likes clickbait. Nobody likes making these stupid thumbnails. I'm sorry, Jimmy, your job is stupid.
Hey, that's okay.
No,
but we click on it.
Well, that's the thing. You have to do it. And I was even thinking about my other job where I do some of this stuff too. And
more
I'm like,
clickbait.
I was like, what fantastical thing can I say about Evansville that somebody's going to click on to get more views? But then people are mad, like, clickbait, how dare you make me click on this? I'm like, otherwise you wouldn't see it.
No, I mean, that is the thing, though, because with so much media right now, you have so many options, and 95% of them are clickbait. So if you don't make your video as appealing as possible and frame it in a way where people care about it, then no one's going to click on it.
Right.
But you also don't lie. Like that's one of the things.
Yeah, there's good clickbait and bad clickbait.
One Life Network, check out that channel. But on that channel, yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, you do research on thumbnails and
so many lies.
Well, yeah, and that's like there's certain buzzwords.
Oh yeah, totally.
That you that we use because I say we, Jimmy makes it, but yeah, because you want to.
People will click on it, which is so frustrating.
but we don't lie. Like, you have to deliver on the promises.
Exactly.
Right.
Also, cops called.
Gone wrong.
Gone wrong. So, all right. So that's your example. Is there anything else, Jimmy, you can think of?
Just the way we always face forward on the elevator. Just feel like we just do it because other people do it.
I've been thinking a lot about advertising lately, just because.
Quit kicking me.
Well, you guys, your feet.
Look at all of us.
You're all in my space. I can't see what it looks like here, but because advertising, like we know that ads are. I mean, it's the original clickbait because we're like, oh. I know that these things are lying to me in the way that these people are presented and all this stuff. Like, I know this isn't real, but I still want that thing. I still want to engage.
They're advertising a lifestyle that you want.
Yeah, and it's like, I know this.
Well, and as algorithms get better and better, they know exactly what you specifically want to see.
Well, and that's because to that point, it's not even that you're putting something in front of someone that is a lie. You're just getting really good at knowing exactly what they want and then serving that up to them on a silver platter. That's why we get texts from Sonic saying there's 50-cent corn dogs, and I'm like, let's stop the podcast.
I have to say that's what this latest Taylor Swift album was.
I opted into corn dog.
A giant
giant corn dog
algorithm.
What do you mean?
She knew exactly what her audience feeds into.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she just creates that.
Well, and because what her audience want, what is going to be relatable, what really resonates with them. Mm-hmm. So people who make products and advertise it well know exactly what their audience wants and gives them that. So that's why one of the reasons why Taylor Swift is so popular, because she knows her audience, what they want, what they resonate with, and knows exactly how to give it to them. And
this kind of goes back to a little bit to our conversation last week of can you really be real? Because NF,
Real Music,
rapper, you can check out our reaction videos to that on the other channel. But NF. In his song Happy, he's like, I don't know who I would be if I was happy. And he gets worried about, because all his music is based on like dealing with mental health and dealing with like his mom's death and dealing with all this really dark stuff and his depression and anxiety and all this stuff. And he's like, but if I got better, I don't know that the fans would like my music.
You lose the appeal. You have a lot of sad people that want to listen to sad music. So then if you're not supplying sad music anymore, they're like, well, we'll find someone else who does.
Actually, we do, I think, one of our older podcasts, we talk about Happy. I'll try to remember.
We do, yeah.
What's our timestamp right now? At 22 minutes. Okay, so, but I think, that's one of those things that if you don't have the platform, then nobody's going to watch your stuff. But you build almost a brand around that platform, and so you have to keep feeding into it, or it's not going to work anymore. So,
like we're a beehive, and Taylor Swift's the queen bee.
No, that's Beyonce.
I know. I was like, whoops.
Queen bee.
Speaking of queen bee, what's our next topic?
Oh my goodness, we have got Florida Foible.
I forgot what button it was. Oh, no, Chris, no.
Oh, this got really insane.
That was double foible. All right. Adrian, you found this one.
I found it.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty proud of it because it's probably one of the best Florida foibles of all time.
One of the best.
If it were
a
video from 2006.
Oh, there'd be a remix for sure.
There would be a remix of this guy's quotes.
Oh, yeah. Like Sweet Brown.
A musical, yeah. Like,
how'd you
got
kids,
no
how'd you
shoes and nothing, Jesus.
I ran out.
Okay, so
I have bronchitis or something. Okay, sorry.
A Florida man said his custom car was stolen while he was asleep on Monday. The vehicle contained something irreplaceable. His mother's ashes.
In his car.
In his car. So he has like a custom car, and it even has like on the back, in loving memory of his mother's name, Lorena Leonard. And I think the car is like custom for her.
Oh, really?
That's like kind of what I'm getting from this article. Yeah, it was meant for her. This is the main reason I got that car, because of her, to represent her.
And so maybe there was like a special holder that he had customized.
Urn holder.
To hold her ashes.
Yeah, and that's what it says. The ashes were in his cup holder.
Right next to the Chick-fil-A lemonade.
He's like drinking his tea.
So the thing is because it is so custom, like I can't imagine somebody driving this car around and people not noticing it. It's like purple.
Yeah.
A lot of purple cars in Florida, though.
Well, but it's got like brush strokes on it and all this stuff.
It's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, what is that? There's like an image on it. Anyway.
Probably his mother.
She actually posed and was
no.
So he says. But get this.
Her both ways.
He calls and reports the theft, and then the next day, his mother's ashes are in his mailbox.
They returned it.
So they returned it.
Look at that. Okay. But the car wasn't there.
They kept the car.
He's
inside. He's like, my mother's ashes are back.
I love his quote of when it got stolen. He said, "I ain't hear no horn, nothing. Car didn't crank. I would have heard it." So then,
I'm sure he said it just like that.
Did somebody tow it? How did they get it out of there?
There's a mystery, mysterious
you hotwired it.
Car ashes.
Okay.
But so he gets his mother's ashes back, and he says, "Good thing they did brought it back, because that car was special for her. So without having her ashes, I felt like I'm a failure." Oh. And he says, "But they still got a good heart, but just their mind messed up."
Makes sense to me.
Whoever it was still got a good heart. It's all him, with a capital H.
Oh, it's all
him. Won't he do it?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. It's all him. So he is, I guess. Yeah, but he's saying like he's relieved to be reunited with his mother's ashes. Which, yeah, I would say. But he's saying like they've got a good heart, but their mind is just messed up.
You used to steal a lot of stuff. So was there anything you stole that you had to return?
I'm just kidding. Adrian the thief.
No, I was not that person.
She would never return
She's just a liar. That's why the aliens are coming to kill us.
That's true.
Just a liar.
So, yeah.
So if you had your parents' ashes, where would you keep it?
Yeah, I mean...
Not in your car?
Well,
not in my car. Yeah, that's such a weird...
Is it weird to say what our parents, where they want their ashes?
No, I don't know. I don't know this.
Dad wants his ashes.
What? I didn't know that.
I wonder if he cares.
We'll bleep it out.
Well, it's out there, everybody. I didn't
know.
Know. Really? Well, so they're going for his birthday.
I think Nathan told me that. Our brother called me up and was like, "Did you know this?"
That's just it. Well, I heard it here first, so it's news to me.
We should title this "Live Reaction to Wearing My Own Debt." Oh my gosh,
that's our clickbait.
This got real dark.
I'm like super red because I don't know if our parents want that known, but
we should probably ask them before we put this.
Oh yeah, great.
We can cut out that segment.
We'll see. So ashes.
Speaking of ashes.
So yeah, if you were cremated, where would you want your ashes to be?
I think I do want to be cremated.
Okay, but where would you have them put? Like where? Like would you want your? Would you want like if you could like anywhere? Where would you have your ashes sprinkled?
Ohio River.
Speaking of death.
No, I like the ones where you like they like plant it next to a tree and then you like become a tree.
Oh, I've also heard like you get it put it like in a little timer,
little shot glass.
So like when they play games, they'll always remember you.
Oh yeah.
No way.
It's like the family party games.
That seems like something you would for sure do.
I would do
2 minutes,
or get shot into space. I like it'd be fun to be space ashes.
Space ashes,
and then it'll come back.
How 400 years?
400 years, and it'll just dink the side of the alien ship.
No, to go through that guy's house.
Oh yeah, that's true. Watch the previous episodes.
Oh,
it was someone's ashes that did it.
Yeah, space trash. Like what?
I thought you were saying 400 years. Like those aliens are coming.
That's true. It all comes full circle.
Oh man,
ashes.
This was weird.
This is a great
death episode. Speaking of death, do celebrities make bad Christians or good Christians?
I think we make bad Christians.
So recently,
now we're celebrities.
Russel Brand, if you don't know who he is, watch Bedtime Stories with Adam Sandler.
Never saw it.
Such a weird reference, but no. So Russell Brand, he was married to Katy Perry for a while.
Really? I didn't know that.
Had some. I don't know. Yeah, they were married. I'm pretty sure they were married or dated, but I think they were married. And then
super fans are gonna come after us.
Do your research. I'm sorry. I know he was with Katy Perry for a while. But he has battled addictions and things like that. He's been open about that stuff. And then most recently, like there's been some accusations about his character and stuff with women and all this stuff. Yeah. And so again, I can't speak to if that's true or not. I think he's still on stuff, but yeah, but I think
yes, they were married.
Oh, good. So. But I think I think he got kicked off YouTube for a while. There's just been some stuff, but he's kind of like in this awakening wording and things like that, where he's like, oh, I want people to be like woken up to what's really going on in the world. And so like, especially during pandemic and all that stuff, he would just look at, and he had to be very careful how he worded things so he didn't get kicked off YouTube, but it's like, hey, let's look at, okay, the vaccine. All right. Well, they say everybody needs it, but how come these poorer countries that can't afford it aren't getting the vaccine? And how come these pharmaceutical companies are getting all this money? Like, and so he would just kind of follow money trails and be like, hey, I'm not saying you should get it or not get it. But he's like, let's just follow some money trails. And then with like politics stuff, he's like, hey, let's look at these politicians. And it's very like, hey, here's some Republicans and here's some Democrats. And like, let's see these deals that they're doing behind closed doors, like that are like, we can find like records of stuff they voted for and things like that. And like all this stuff. And so he's kind of looking behind the curtain, if you will, of like things that go on in our world. And so, but through this, he's really been like searching like what's beyond this life. Cause he's always kind of been this kind of spiritual guru of like, oh, we're one in spirit and we're all this stuff. But he got baptized. And one of the things he said in this video is like, yeah, I've been a Christian for 24 hours now. I was like, that's not how baptism works. But it's just interesting to me a lot of times when celebrities become, I'll say followers of Jesus, because I don't like the cultural term Christian, but and so he's like saying like, hey, I am now identifying as a follower of Jesus. And so he's like, through his suffering, through like the stuff that he's gone through in life, he's realized like that there's something beyond this life, which a lot of times, because we've talked about problem suffering on here before, where a lot of times people will be like, oh, God's making me suffer, and so I'm going to turn away from him. But he's like, no, I was drawn into that because I saw that Christ suffered, and I was able to relate to this. And he's like, so I realized like, oh, this is truth and real and all that stuff. And he's very open about his faith now. It's like, oh, this is interesting. But you know who else was open about their faith? Kanye, yes. Yeah. And so you look, and then Shia LaBeouf, like I'm thinking like different people, Chris Pratt, like Alan Richardson. I think we talked about him on here too. Yep. He's the guy that plays Reacher and stuff. But yeah, there's these Christian celebrities. Like what draws us to them? Gary Busey.
That is there.
You know Gary Busey? You guys know Gary Busey.
You know him.
Let
us know in the comments.
He's in Cliffhanger. No, he's in a bunch
of Cliffhanger. Why do you
use that movie I've never heard of?
Buttered sausage. So, anyways, Gary Busey. But yeah,
we both weren't born yet.
You have these people that become Christians that are in the celebrity world, and people kind of are like, yeah, they're on our side now. So is there like a reaction that we have to people becoming like? Is it almost like a validation of who we are? Like, oh, we're not as crazy as people
cool.
think. Yeah.
It's cool to be a Christian. JB was another one. Justin Bieber.
Oh, yeah. He still is, I think. He goes to Hillsong.
That's the thing.
Who knows? Yeah. And
it's not our place to judge, because obviously we don't know them at all.
Right.
And the same with the Russel Brand or anybody who's, even if they're outspoken and very public about what they believe, it's like, you still don't know.
Yeah.
We still can't claim to know.
But yeah, I think there is something to say about it becoming cool to be a Christian, because to some point, if you have a lot of people that are celebrities that are doing this, then some people become kind of cultural Christians because they want to be like the people that they like.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen that where, because younger people typically are very impressionable and they want to be like the people they look up to.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I could see them doing that if they see these celebrities like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll start, because it's becoming more of a thing where people that aren't Christians have been listening to like Christian rap and dabbling in that side of it and seeing kind of the benefit of it without actually being Christians.
So will you explain what a cultural Christian is? Because I'm hearing this term more and more, and I think it's this new, almost a new terminology. And so I want you to define it for everybody.
So a cultural Christian, as I would understand it, is someone who just wears the name of Christian. So it doesn't really inform any of their actions or decisions, but they say they believe in God and they identify as a Christian.
But why would they do that?
Because it's cool.
It's not, though.
They listen to, it's not cool to be a Christian?
No.
Well, Adrian says it's lame.
You just heard it here. And again, this is why I don't use...
I guess depends on what groups you're in. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You're like, love Justin Bieber or something. You're like, yeah, his song.
I'm a believer. But one of the things, that's why I haven't used the term Christian for a long time to describe myself, because I say a follower of Christ, or a follower of Jesus. Like, I'm a Jesus follower, because that term Christian has become this cultural term now where it's like, oh, you vote Republican and you wear MAGA hats and you didn't get vaccinated. Like, it's just become this weird thing of like, when people hear the word Christian, it's like, oh, you hate...
Yeah, it has a lot of attachments and weight.
Yeah, you hate all these people and you do this and you don't like this. And like, it's like, no, like, just I follow Jesus and I pursue him. And so it's kind of like trying to turn that conversation around. And so when I hear the term cultural Christian, it is very much this like, well, I'm a good person and maybe I believe in a God, but Richard Dawkins, like, recently, did he say cultural? Was it?
I don't know if he said it or if someone said that about him.
Because Richard Dawkins, if you don't know who he is, he's like a atheist guy that has like poo-pooed on Christianity for so long.
Say that
He's on Christianity for so long. But he's like just this atheist guy that just has attacked Christians and Christianity and all that stuff. And so, but what he's now saying is, but the tenets of Christianity are good, like to be a good person and to do good and all that stuff. And it's like, wait, you're just taking all the rules, like the not fun stuff of Christianity. I'm like, we need more rules and all this stuff, like law and order and all this. And you're like, wait, what? Like, no, it's about this relationship with Jesus. And so it's just interesting that now that Russel Brand is like, hey, and he's very open. He's like, hey, I'm new to this. And a lot of people have been praying for me and all this. And so he's like, I'm just going on this journey. And so
I think for him, he's not, I feel like he's not a huge celebrity anymore necessarily. Like, people follow him, though. Like, they've followed his journey for a long time. And so that's what I'm seeing more of the commentary or the comments on his videos are more like, I've been following you and your journey for so long, knowing that Christ is the answer, but it's been so long, and they're like celebrating. Like, I'm so glad that you finally
have
figured it out and figured out what you've been missing this whole time. Yeah. So it's more like celebratory, I feel like, for this, and because of like seeing a person actually experience the life change of Jesus, rather than like, a Christian for the, like.
Right.
Although I did see a lot of other people, because I was watching a guy who responds to this kind of stuff. What do you mean, John McCrae? And he was showing that there was a lot of backlash by people who weren't Christians when Russel Brand became a Christian, saying, oh, you were a free thinker and you're doing all this, but now you just believe in this sky god and you're giving all of your logic over to just being religious and having faith and stuff like that. So basically you were hating on him for doing this.
Yeah, because it almost, this is worldview. So, because his worldview is now Christ-centered, and so that means all the things that he's going to take in with the media and all this stuff are now going to be filtered through this lens. And that's what we want to do on this podcast. We want to help you to like look at the world around you and say, okay, what is this person pushing on me? What are they trying to sell me? What do they want me to do as a result of this thing that I'm watching or listening to or partaking in, so that I can make an informed decision of how I live my life? Because with advertising, like, they want you to do something with that. The shows you watch, they're saying, oh, you're a bug. You don't matter. Like, there's like all this stuff that they're saying with what they put in. And so now that Russel Brand is a follower of Jesus, it's like, oh, now he's going to look at the world through this lens. Yep. And some people would say, oh, that's restrictive and all this stuff. And we would say, no, that's actually very freeing because now we know the truth.
Well, you can go back to the cultural Christian thing real quick, is Richard Dawkins was saying, and I've seen other people say this as well, is even if they don't believe Christianity is true, they see that it's useful.
Yeah.
So seeing, okay, if you don't believe there's any God, you only think we're atoms in motion and there's no meaning or purpose, then it's hard to have a foundation for things like morality, good and bad, having rules and stuff like that. So they're like, we appreciate the foundations of Christianity and how it makes people act and the rules that it brings to society that we all follow, but we don't subscribe to the actual beliefs. So they say, well, we don't believe it's true, we believe it's useful.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, which is weird because if it's useful, then
there's
it's probably true.
Yeah. To it.
Although, I mean, there are plenty of things in life that can be useful that aren't necessarily true.
Like clickbait.
Like clickbait. It might not be true, but it'll be useful if you click on it. Incredible.
So I do want to give a recommendation. So
what is it?
Newts. So my 6-year-old and I have been reading. It's by Doug Tenaple. I've heard it both ways. I think it's Tenaple. I think he pronounced Tenaple. But it's. So he writes graphic novels, and Newts is a 3-part series. We're on part 2 right now.
How do you spell that so people can look it up?
Oh, it's NNEWTS.
See, people now would have figured that out.
No.
Yeah, it's double. Yeah, Newts, Doug Tenaple. But basically it's like this group of little newts, but they're like have human characteristics. They can talk and all this stuff, and so. So basically these lizards kind of try to take over. These like lizard people take over and start killing the newts. And so this one little guy escapes, and it's just about his journey and how he's trying to find family again and redemption and like become who he's supposed to be and all this stuff. And you find out that maybe there's more behind why they attacked his village and why they're after him.
The lizard people are trying to take over.
Yeah, but it reminds me a little bit of Wingfeather Saga because the lizards can actually like cast a spell or something to turn the newts into lizard people. And so I was like,
that's
similar. I think newts might have come first though before. I don't know. They're very
comes first, the chicken or the egg?
But it's very good. It's very fun. It's a little violent. Because the lizards had like some of the newts' heads. They were like had them cut off, and I was like, oh.
Jeez.
Shepherd's like, what?
Like, don't look at that.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit older, but Doug Tenaple, he's really like very creative and funny. He's Earthworm Jim, if anybody knows what that is. He did some work on VeggieTales for a little while, but he writes these graphic novels that are really. I almost C.S. Lewis-esque because there's these.
Is he a Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's Christian morals and themes in him, but he says I'm too secular for the Christians and I'm too Christian for the secular. And so I was like, it's probably good place to be. Ground.
That sounds like a place I like to live.
Yeah, but one Creature Tech is one that he wrote that's about the Shroud of Turin, but it deals with the issue of like aliens. Like if there are aliens, if there are other creatures out there. Would there need to be a savior for them? Because if Jesus died for everybody,
it's
a
lizard Jesus. What Wrinkle in Time type of stuff.
Wrinkle in Time and
C.S. Lewis too. The last, what is that?
The Space Trilogy.
Space Trilogy. That's what I'm thinking of.
So, Out of the Silent Planet. So check out Newts. It's good. So but hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
We'll see you next time.